Okay, so this is how you're going to set up the experiment. So we have our length of copper conducting tape. We have 4 large leads, each of a different color. You can choose whatever color works for you. We'll show you our color scheme in a minute, and 1 medium lead as well. We have the breadboard. We're going to need some kind of scotch tape, the IO Lab, and scissors. So the first thing we're going to want to do is tape down our board. So we're going to grab some scotch tape and tape down each of the corners so that it doesn't move around while we're trying to take measurements. So 1 piece of tape on each corner should do the trick. Okay, so now we have our conductive sheet taped down. We're going to start making our configurations. So the first one we're going to make is a 15 centimeter long piece of copper. It's going to be centered on the piece of paper. So what you want to do is lay it out over where you're going to put it. With your finger, you're going to mark on the copper tape, and you can see my marking I put there. Then you're going to cut maybe just slightly on the line or past the line. You could just do it on the line probably. I'm going to cut that. And then when it's done, it's going to be on the center of this line here. So that's going to run down the middle of it. So we're going to do a little close-up so you can see what it's going to look like when it's done. So then you're going to go to the back of this. You're going to try to peel that tape off. All right, I got an edge up. Peel it off. Now you want to be real careful. You don't want it to start sticking to itself. I'm going to start with one side down, nice and even. Now we're going to lay the other side down here, as centered as possible. And you're going to press it down good and tight. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to grab another piece of our copper tape. And we're going to make another line of approximately the same size on the other side. So now we have our 2 strips which are going to make our conductive plates. And now we need a point charge. So our point charge we're going to use, just cut basically a square out of this.
Alright, so we have our point charge, our square point charge, and so this is going to go in the center of this line. So you can see it's made of 3 boxes, so it's going to go into the center one, in the center of this line.
So now we have all our conductive copper down. Now we're going to start connecting our leads, and we're going to tape them down so they stay out of our way.
And so you can see in the IO Lab here, we have all of our pins. And so the ground is one of these that says G and D. It doesn't matter which one. You could just plug it into there. And then what you're going to do is take another piece, a small piece of copper tape. You're going to use that to stick the other end of the lead onto your already existing line.
And then we're going to take some tape and we're going to tape this side down.
Again, be careful with the tape, because once you put it down, you will rip the paper if you try and take it up.
Good.
Okay, so we're going to hook up the 3.3 volts to the point charge. So you can see on the IO Lab here, there's a couple of them that say 3.3 volts. So you're going to take, we're taking our red wire and hooking that into the 3.3 volts. I have another piece of copper tape, and we're going to hook this lead up to the point charge. So let's... Okay, so we already now have the 3.3 volts going to our point charge, and we're going to take this white wire, hook it up into the other 3.3 pin in the IO Lab, and hook that up to the other line of our parallel plate capacitor. So I have my piece of tape. And I'm going to tape that on. And roll that up a little bit. Alright, so this is what our total configuration is going to look like. We have ground going to the middle line. We have 3.3 volts going to our bottom line, and we have 3.3 volts going to our point charge.
We're only going to use one line at a time, so when you're not taking data, you should have both of these prongs out so you don't waste your battery. And then when you're going to take data, the first set of data for part 1, we're going to be using these 2. So you're going to plug this guy into 3.3 volts, take your data with our probe that we're about to hook up, And then when you switch over to doing the second part and using the parallel plates, you're going to connect that one to 3.3 volts. So at that point, these two are active, and when we have the other setup, these two are active. But let's show you how we're going to set up our lead that's going to be taking our measurements.
Alright, so for that setup, we're going to actually need 2 wires. So you see at the bottom of the iOLab there's a whole bunch of pins called A, so A7, A8, A9. We're going to use A7, so hook this green up into A7, and then we're going to use the breadboards provided to you in your packet. We're going to hook it up into one of these buses. So it says positive and it has a red line. You hook it up into there, and now this whole line is going to be hooked up to A7. So you can take another wire and hook it into one of these other pins, and these two are now connected. So it gives you more of a range of motion to reach across the paper.